This book will teach you a lot about productivity, lifestyle design, entrepreneurship, and traveling the world. But let me give you a warning before, because you may either like this book totally or not at all. But here are the major lessons from this book. But before, subscribe to Knowledge Guru for awesome content. The first lesson from this book is use the 80-20 Pareto principle. Typically, about 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your actions or sources. Tim Ferris realized his business made 80% of its revenue of 20% of the customers. So he cut out the rest and focused on them. If you cut the rest 80% of the stuff that wastes your time, then you'll get lots of time saved. Use a low information diet, focusing only on the highest quality inputs. Think about all the stuff you consume in a day, between scrolling your Instagram feed, listening to the people you don't really care about, even watching the news and reading the newspaper. We take a lot. And Tim argues that most of the information we consume is either time-consuming, negative, irrelevant to our goals, or outside of our influence. Further, if we are going to do more with less, then we must be better gatekeepers of our brain space. Limit what you consume so that you are able to focus on the things that really matter. Books, top podcasts, TED Talks, and maybe occasional documentary are ways that the rich get their information from because it's productive. This information can be used to teach lessons. Here are some tips for you in this regard. Check email twice per day, never the first thing in the morning. That's when you should be getting the most important, crucial tasks of your day done instead. Turn off notifications, create auto email responses and canned responses, and talk to your boss if you're worried how this will affect anything. Train those who you communicate with to have a concise response. I think most of us add a lot of fluff to be nice, even when you're simply trying to get or give one answer. So work on conciseness with communication. Define end times of calls and meetings and set an agenda. The cubicle is your temple. Don't allow visitors when you don't want them. Train people. Use headphones to show your point. Opt out of email call list as soon as something you don't need arrives. It's about productivity, not work. Always be asking if you are being productive or just busy when working. If you are just busy being busy, you need to rethink your schedule. You may waste hours of your time micromanaging and emailing. But that in the end is not the work that counts. In the end, it's all about the output that you produce. Emphasize your strengths instead of fixing weaknesses. Fixing weaknesses takes too long and you'll never be in the top 1% with them like you can be with your skills you're naturally good at. You have an edge over others in some areas, find them. Another thing to remember is not to strive for endless perfection, rather than great or simply good enough, whether in your personal or professional life. Stop trying to compete with everyone at the same things. Consider making your own niche and dominating it as the big fish in a small pond, like Tim Ferris did with lifestyle design. If you cannot be the first in a category, set up a new category you can be first in. When you are first in a new category, promote the category. You won't have any competition. Successful people try to improve income per hour, not just total income. To make more, you should not work more. Focus on being more efficient, cutting out time-wasting activities and focusing on what works best. Try adding passive income into your portfolio. If you got hit by a bus and you could only work 2 hours per week, what would you have to do? Your business should leave you alone as much as possible. The whole point of your muse is it is supposed to make you money and help you be free of time constraints. Delegate, automate, and work less total hours. Another controversial aspect of the 4-hour work week is the concept of an automated income stream. Ferris recommends the process of developing a product-based business that, once put in motion, can run with minimal involvement from you. He provides several hypothetical case studies that illustrate what type of products lend themselves to creating low-maintenance income streams, how to ensure that there is a demand for a product, how to bring it to the market, and then how to sell it, and then how to set it to run on autopilot. Delegate anything you can with a virtual assistant firm. A virtual assistant can be very helpful as mentioned in this book. It's best to go with firm instead of one individual in case something happens to the main assistant. Letting go of control in smaller aspects of your life will allow you to focus on areas where your efforts will generate maximum impact. You can use useful websites like Upwork, Brickwork India, and find virtual assistants in cheap rate from Asian countries like India. Take mini retirements instead of waiting until you're old. What's the point of retiring when you're too old to do anything fun? It can actually be very affordable to live like a rich person and travel to exotic places around the world. Stop deferring life for a day that may never come. Don't trade 40 or 50 years in a cubicle for a vision of 401k funded later that might never materialize. Instead, Ferris recommends taking mini retirements by living abroad for a few months or a year at a time, using the income generated by your low maintenance business. Ditch hotels for apartments, travel life, and follow Tim's tricks for living the life in foreign places. Get your most important tasks done before 11 am. This helped me enormously. Things come up all the time when you are a business owner or employee, and getting that biggest, most important income producing task done first works wonder for productivity. Set up big blocks of 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted time before 11 am and you'll see the wonders. Now these were few of the extracts from the book, The 4-Hour Workweek. If you want to add something to this, or you think I might have missed something, then please mention it down in the comments below. And as we know, sharing is caring, so like this video and share it with your friends.